What's up, hikers and mountaineers? Welcome back to another episode of the Baada Summit podcast. My name is Kiprono Letting, the host. And today we have a special guest. He's a special guest to me. He's someone that has inspired my hiking journey. I've hiked with his company, Hikemaniak, many times. And Hikemaniak is an outdoor tour company, specializes in hiking tours. They offer a wide variety of hikes in East Africa and also beyond East Africa in Nepal. So you can go with them to Everest Base Camp. And he also has an award-winning documentary named after himself. It's about his journey to Everest. And with that said, Gitonga Wandai, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
It's nice to have you on the podcast.
Shukran.
And it was also your birthday last week, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are we revealing ages?
It's already out there.
You turned 40.
Yes.
Does life really begin at 40?
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, in a few years, you're able to shed a few masks and you're more in touch with yourself.
Mm.
I feel like it's a beautiful time to be here.
Yeah, okay, nice. So I want to start a conversation today, let's say, before Hikemaniak, like, what was your life like before Hikemaniak, and then how did you get into hiking, and then now starting Hikemaniak?
Yeah, my background is totally not in the outdoors. So I worked for a corporate before, and then for the development world, like the NGO world a bit. And then after that is when I shifted into hiking specifically, actually. That was in 2016, mid-2016.
Mm-hmm.
But I had been hiking for just my enjoyment since 2004. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
2004, that's 18 years.
18
Okay.
years, yeah.
And then
There was quite a break immediately after college, a bit work and all that, but I recovered my footing and but basically have been,
Oh, okay.
hiking has been with me for quite some time, yeah.
And then, okay, I'm just curious to know, what was like your first hike?
Yeah. So I was in the President's Award. I don't know if you have heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. And internationally, it's more known as the International Award.
Mm.
And I joined the Kenyatta University chapter.
Mm.
And that's where I did my first documented hike. And it was such an amazing experience, but I was so unprepared for it.
Where was it?
It was in Ukambani, and actually it was a hike and camp. It was for 2 nights, 3 days. We used to do really rudimentary gear. I think I had some shoes I had bought in Baada, and jeans. And but despite everything, it was like really one of the most memorable experiences I've ever had. I remember it like it's yesterday, from finding bearings to the next destination, from using a compass and a map and all these things, and working with a team. I think that's the first time I led a team because I was the group leader for the team that I had. And I think that experience really informed even the forming of Hikemaniak and what kind of format we use when we work with people on the trails and all that.
So when did you start Hikemaniak?
Hikemaniak was founded in 2016, mid-2016. In fact, I think we had 2016 April there is when we had wanted to go, but I think our first hike was on 1st of June of 2016, Madaraka Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how many hikes so far as a company have you facilitated? Do you know?
The count is crazy right now, I think, because it's only 2016 we didn't do a hike every Saturday of the year. But after 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 affected slightly by the COVID, but we have always had a hike every Saturday of the year. And there's so many other hikes that have been done outside the calendar. And so really maybe we can just maybe do an average of like 49 hikes a year for every Saturday, multiplied by the years we have in existence, to give us a good estimate.
6 times, let's say 50, so 300 or something. Plus.
Yeah, 300 plus.
Okay, nice.
And those are just the ones happening on Saturday. So we have not counted the Mount Kenyas, we have not counted the Kilimanjaros, we have not, like the big mountains.
Yeah, I like Hikemaniak because of like the variety. You know, you can do hikes like all over Kenya, rock climbing. If you want to climb Batian, you offer.
I think from the word go, we really wanted to. Hiking is like the core of what we do, but exploring what else people can be able to do on the outside spaces, and I mean the wild spaces. Not just like saying outdoor, outside the house or whatever, but in the outdoor spaces, it's really, and how we keep doing them, like how do we keep improving how people experience the outside spaces is really our core business, and we will keep trying to improve how people consume the outside spaces over and over again. Yeah.
Would you say there are more hikers nowadays?
Well, yeah, I think they are because by the time now we were starting in 2016, it was more like trying to make people aware that there's this outdoor activity. But right now, hiking on itself it's an activity that Kenyans are already aware. Even the ones that are not hiking, they are aware that you can be able to step outside and go for a hike or something like that. And so it's really more of winning people into the sport than like really introducing them like it's a new thing. So it's a really beautiful time to be here and to see Kenyans really hiking and enjoying the outside spaces, which is also our core, like how we really wanted our core objective when we started. Like we really wanted Kenyans themselves to be able to enjoy the outside spaces, because when I was looking at who has written about Kenya and the landscape and the mountains and everything, it was really foreign people talking about our landscapes. But right now, I'm really happy we have a forum like this one. We have blogs, so many blogs right now of people's experiences of their hiking experiences, and Kenyans themselves talking about how they have experienced their own landscapes, and that's really beautiful. And also people knowing about other parts of their country where they originally they're not from. Like I have been able to, I'm from Central, but really right now I can say I have almost touched every part of the country in terms of my experiences hiking, which is really beautiful. And it demystifies people's cultures, and we don't have to keep feeling like it's those people.
Ni hawa watu pekee.
Na ni wale, yeah. So even like I feel like people even getting to know their country in that way brings a lot of cohesion in the country also.
Nice. So now I want to talk about like your documentary. It's called Gitonga 2020. And it's about like your journey to Everest. Like how did that come to be? Is it like something you're like, okay, I want to go to Everest Base Camp, I'm going to now document my whole journey?
Actually, it was a very random thing. I had always had the dream to go to the Everest Base Camp, and so when 2017 came, I felt like this urge to make that dream come true. So I sold my car at that time to facilitate my going to the base camp. And it was really random. I was not even to take a guide.
Or you can go by yourself?
At that time, you could do Everest Base Camp by just yourself. But right now, I think they are trying to regulate how people enter the Everest region, the national park. So they are requiring that people have to. I think it's just the same thing as here in Mount Kenya, where they have to like you have to take a guide or something like that.
Okay.
So yes, but at that time you could actually go buy the permits and start your trek, and that's exactly what I did. I left home and I went to Nepal and then just when I was in the airport that morning, as before we flew to Rukla, I met this gentleman from the UK and a few others. I think he was with his friend he was actually not. I think he was with his friend, and we started chatting, and we got to know each other. And I think by the third day, we decided to do this random thing. And
so it happened on the trail.
Yeah, like
interesting.
And I think it was. So we talked at Lukla, then I think overnight at Fakding. You are aware of these places now. And by the time we were getting to Namche, we were already now thinking of how to come
so
up
what
with
captivated him? There's something that captivated him.
Well, first is I think it's just our meeting. He was also like resigned from his work, and he was also searching like a new path, or he was on his own path to like pursue film and do something for himself. And I also was really in a space where I really wanted to know if this outdoor way is the way like I really wanted to go towards, and what I wanted for it. I really wanted clarity on that. So, and I was also about the dream to go to the top of Everest, and I think that really fascinated him as a story, and we decided to do something together.
Yeah. It's like as a whole journey.
Yeah.
Because the documentary, I'll have the link below for you to check out the documentary. It's very nice. Yes. And then it won the Kisima Awards for Best Documentary.
Yeah, and and a few other awards internationally. I think we also won something for Kedal Mountain Festival, and it also featured in Banif Mountain Festival. Those are really like prestigious mountain festivals.
So now, for you to sell your car to do the trek, like, what did it mean for you at that moment? The trek itself.
It really meant a lot, and because I really wanted to do something really special for myself, and to go and experience something different. I think that was the biggest thing. Like I really wanted to go and experience something that was beyond what I was already like. I had been like to the East African mountains, and I really wanted to see how the world out there in terms of hiking looks like, and just the travel in general really opens up your mind in terms of how you think and how you do stuff. Yeah.
What year was that?
That was February 20. Actually, it was during winter.
It was during winter.
Okay. Yeah. So it was February 2017, and actually what informed is. From my research, I noticed that it was less crowded because, of course, from when you read something, sometimes people can paint like crazy pictures, like it will be so crowded, and even they said like some tea houses you cannot find even a bed. So for me to be on the safe side, I really wanted to go at a time when I really knew that I would find accommodation, and since I didn't have a guide, I really wanted to be sure of a number of things. Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, did you have a map then, like, to know where to go?
Yeah. So at the time, there was this guy we used to hike with. It's called Charles, and works for. I don't think he still works for Car in General at the time. And he had this Garmin watch, and I started exploring with it. And he told me you can load maps. So actually, what I did before I left is I bought a Garmin watch, and I loaded the whole Everest Base Camp trek on it. and that's what I was planning to. But when I got there, the
Join now
things
your
were really
people.
there were so many people to interact with, and the trails are also really well marked also.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There's was it during the trail that you're like, okay, now I'll do this trek and then climb Everest later, or had you decided before you started the trek?
Well, I felt like I really wanted to do the dream itself to go to the Everest, but I also wanted to like have this understanding of the region, and there's one way you can have just a dream, but you also now need to take like steps towards it. And one of the things was to go to trek to the base camp to see the mountain itself, and also just to learn how like what do I need specific. Of course, you can find this information on the website, but really you really need to have tangible information about the region and about how to go about the climb. Yeah.
And how was the feeling like to see it? Because there's this scene like in the documentary. Like, I don't know, was it when you're in Kalapata or base camp? When you saw Everest,
It
was like an emotional moment.
I don't know how your feeling was, but every time, even now when I'm walking around, even now here, and you look up in the mountains, sometimes you see like there are mountains in the clouds, because in the region, every side you turn, like there's a whole mountain poking the skies, like in so beautiful way, and that in itself really captured my attention, and like that trip in itself went beyond what I expected in terms of trekking to the base camp, and also gave me an opportunity to even interact with new people and the culture itself also in very intimate way.
When it was after the trek, then you're like, okay, I'm going to set a date.
Yes.
And then now work towards, the actual climb now.
Yes. Actually, how I came up with as I was reading literature surrounding Everest, I found like the average age of Everesters at the time was 40 years.
Interesting.
And that's how I set the date. And also, of course, I wanted to allow, at the time I only had one child, so I wanted to allow him to be at the age where I could explain to him like how the project looks like, and like he could be able to perceive what it means to go out there and to climb a mountain, and to climb such a mountain, not
and to
just
be
exactly
away for like
so
a month.
He turned 11 this year, so I knew he would be 11 at the time, and
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it was 40 when you had planned to do it.
Yes,
when
yes,
you're 40,
yeah.
and then when
the year I turned 40, basically,
okay.
yeah, that's how I had looked at it. Yeah, so I would have already submitted by now if everything went as planned. Yeah.
So I want to talk about like your journey then, like initially, like how was your plan, like preparation to before the climb?
Yeah, it was a very relaxed kind of prep.
Yeah.
Because there was a whole 5 years in between the time, actually almost 6 years.
Yeah.
In between the time I was there and the time I had decided now it's when, and much of it I knew the problem would not be so much on the physicality of it, but on the fundraising. And it was really quite a struggle to approach and talk to would-be sponsors of such, but we kept going, and I'm really grateful because by the time I was going for the final prep climb, that is Himlung last year October, there was a substantial amount for me to be able to do at least Himlung, which cost almost $10,000.
$10,000
USD. From flights and everything else, and gear, which was like an 8,000 meter gear, which I still have. It's just waiting for me to be ready to go to the big mountains, and I'll be able to.
What's the average cost to do Everest?
The average goes, I think between 50,000 to 6,000, you should be able to comfortably do the Everest the Everest climb. Yeah.
It's like 6 million
about
shillings.
6 million Kenya shillings. Yeah.
So during like you said like your last prep was Himlung Himal.
Yes.
Everything was like going according to your plan in terms of preparation, readiness.
Yeah.
And then I know like the what happened how you couldn't be able to do the climb this year.
Yes.
And then so I want to talk about like your experience now in Himlung Himal, right? It was a 7,000 meter.
Yeah, it was a 7,000 meter.
And then this is the prep now to do.
Yeah, that will allow me to be able to go to like how it was a prep hike, basically a prep climb to like gauge myself and how I'm feeling and how
altitude wise,
physical wise.
So I don't know how to just say it. We blood like so during the climb. I mean, it was during the summit push, right?
Yes.
So you're climbing, you leave camp. Himlung Himal is 7,100 meters. 129 meters. And then everything was going on well. And then...
so you were asking about the incident on the summit day. Yeah. So these are of course the events. I try to narrate them in a recent speaking engagement that I did.
Engage talk.
The engage talk. But so the prep, the climb was really going very well. I didn't have any issue of altitude or in, like beyond what I have ever felt before. In terms of, it's not like when I say it's not like I'm not feeling. Of course, the altitude at that level is very suppressive. In a mountain, like beyond 5,000, you already start feeling some form of either your stomach is rumbling, you have a headache, or just the feeling like you're a bit low
umechoka.
Umechoka. But we had a very good and relaxed climb itinerary. I think we arrived in I was in Nepal by 17th of October. Or 15th of October.
Last year.
I departed for Himlung on 17th and reached the base camp on 24th or 23rd thereabout. And I think after that we did a few orientations about the climb, how to manage a fall, how to really intense training on the base camp. And the base camp at that time was really covered in snow. It's almost knee deep snow. But it had already stopped snowing and the sun was coming out almost every day. It was really beautiful. And we started the rotations. We did the first rotation to Camp 1 and came back to base camp. Rotation 2, go to Camp 2, touch Camp 2, come sleep in Camp 1, and then return to base camp. And then we were waiting for the last... Actually, they were suggesting like the last window of the climb. Yeah, because in November now, we are in the Himalayas, we are starting to touch the winter. But there were very strong winds that were in the higher mountains. And on that, we departed camp, base camp, in good shape and in very high spirits. In my party, we were 3 of us, and we had already really gelled as a team. But when we got in my team, a lady from Netherlands and a gentleman from Germany, and but the following day going to Camp 2, the lady from Netherlands decided to turn back, and we proceeded with my friend Tobias to Camp 2. Yeah, and we had there was not so much sleep to talk about in Camp 2,
How high is
which
Camp
was
2?
6,200. But we by midnight we started on 4th of November last year. We started our way up Himlung, and it's only in the morning, like about 6:30ish there, or maybe earlier, maybe 5:30. The mountain, sometimes the light can come a bit early. So, but that's the first time I noticed that there was a problem with my vision. And it was a bit foggy, blurry. I could not see very well. So I asked my guide, my shepherd at that time, and I asked him, "Is it foggy or it's my eyesight that is not okay?" And at first I ignored it. Like it's nothing. I have never seen something like that. It has been the night, so I had already ruled out there's an event of snow blindness because there's no light shining back to me. So and 30 minutes later after that, that is when I went totally into darkness and I could not see anything. But on the flip side, probably that could have really been the only thing that probably saved this hand from frostbite, the whole of it. Because if probably I could have gone, because I think I was freezing, but my mind was not registering it. Because the cold I was feeling is the cold it's not something that I have never felt before. So even when we are going down after that incident, when I decided, and this was at about 6,950, when we decided now I am not seeing it, we have to turn around and figure out how we go down. There was, other than that time, the actual time when now we are trying to figure out how to
go down,
which could have been harder, but it was easy. And this is now where the rock climbing skills come in, because it was very easy to, even in without seeing, I was very easy for me to
like abseil.
And the rescue was not as bad as it would have been if I didn't know how to abseil on my own.
So when you couldn't see, what was going through your mind then?
The actual thing, the actual diagnosis is my cornea had frozen. In the morning, gushing winds. That's what happened, and it could be explained actually because even immediately after I went down and it was warmer and all that, I was able to regain my sight, albeit with pain. I was able to regain my sight.
And through that, you mentioned you got frostbite.
Yeah, so through that I got frostbite, and this is to mention that I had proper gear. For a 7,000 mountain, and both hands were in the same kind of gloves. But maybe probably this because it's the one that was holding the. It's called what? This guy.
Juma.
The Juma. Maybe it was more exposed to the winds and all that, because it's what I was using more on the mountain could have. But then again, it doesn't explain how the other two survived. So there's always a lot of questions surrounding that. But we are here. We are here now. So after that, I got an evacuation from about 6,400 from the mountain, 300 there about. Helicopter, and went to the hospital, and we tried to do what we could do to get the hands back. The eyesight was already back. But eventually I came back home, and the doctor's recommendation was, of course, it's a very funny condition actually, and probably everyone going now up to going to a higher mountain, and especially because in the Kenyan context, this is now when we are starting to experience the big mountains. I think people should be able to take deeper and more to pay more attention with your body and really to feel how.
So like for frostbite, what's like the first things like they try to do? They say
for the frostbite, there's nothing much because, and especially from the hospitals in Nepal, really. Probably I would have gone into an oxygen chamber to try and get more oxygen into the fingers within maybe 24 hours or so, which didn't happen. Yeah, but so more if you know that you're not going back to the cold, there's very easy remedies to put the fingers into warm water and in intervals, and in the hope that actually you might recover. Yeah. And also they, especially for the doctors, also they really did even in Nepal, they really did a lot of blood thinners into the system to try and see if the blood is thin, could be able to circulate to the fingers. And it doesn't look. Actually, immediately after the impact is when you can see the color change. Immediately after you leave, they turn back to almost like
normal.
You cannot even tell like there's any, unless you're in a cold place where you can feel like actually the fingers have. And now the rot is a very gradual and the most thing that you can ever even wish on anyone, because it's you seeing your body die every single day. Yeah.
And it was what period, like after the climb, and then to when it starts like rotting?
So you start so first because it's actually a burn. So soon it starts to form like blisters on the surface of the skin, and then after this the blisters dry up, and then of course now the fingers dry up. So and that the demarcation to happen up to like the finger to show up to where the impact was took 2 months for me. Yeah, so it was between November and January that process happened. Yeah.
And then the doctor said like
you
had to.
Yeah, so we had to amputate.
These are 2 fingers there.
Yeah, 2 fingers on the right hand.
Now, like, we like climbing these mountains and all these things. Like how was it the moment for you? And was it something you feel maybe it's not for me anymore, or?
Of course, it comes with a lot of bitterness at first. I think it amounts to any loss, really, like any loss that you value. First, you are in denial, then you go all those processes. They call them processes of grief, and then finally acceptance.
I mean, there are 5 of them, I think.
5 of them. Yeah. So I think that's exactly what happened with me. But I feel like also the very mountain that because I think maybe in a few posts on my social medias I have always tried to describe how the evolution of that process happened. Because beyond that, I always felt like we are in this relationship with the mountain that was so tight, like we could never not inform each other of the happening. Like I always felt, and for me, like if I knew something was going wrong, I had no, like it was a must that I get to the top. No, like, that was not for me. And even in any mountain, I have turned from mountains enough times when I know the safety levels of what I'm doing is not working. So there was not a question of either I insisted on this or not. Yeah. So I always feel like it should have told me, like, at what point for me to go back. But there's it's now in the past.
Yeah.
we cannot
And
change,
like how,
we cannot change the hands of time.
and currently, like how are you now, like climbing mountains and all?
Well, so there was that first initial, like really trying to figure out, okay, where do you go? And as I said, it's the 2 months were really dark months, like really. But I'm also grateful for family, of course, really because there was a time like I would not be able to use this hand for anything, because the doctors had already recommended that it needs to be dry at all times, so that it reduces the infection on the affected parts. So there was a lot of really being looked after, almost like a child. So like, there was a lot that went into family to look after you before, but mostly after the surgery. Like really, there was a lot of really close care, where people have to be there to take care of you. Yeah, and then friends also, really friends who came, who sent presents, who sent books, especially at that time.
Your books.
The
Fiction or non-fiction.
Fiction and non-fiction. Really,
okay.
those are the things that really used to keep me alive, and people coming over to just talk stories and previous adventures. That's why really, really amazing times for to see people just come and have a conversation at that time.
And how is life nowadays?
Yeah, now I think the process for the surgery took about 2.5 months, because there were a number of surgeries, that 3 of them, and then immediately after I had a travel, and one of my friends took me for a hike, the first hike, and it was out there in Europe, so it was really
Doris.
Doris, yeah. After that, I think it was really things happening in very quick succession, because immediately after I came from that trip, we were ready to go. I think after 2 weeks, we were returning to the base camp. I had a trip to the base camp, so it was really meaningful. So for me to, even if I was not going to the to the Everest, to the top of Everest as I had planned earlier, it was also very meaningful for me.
Oh, you went to base camp with your son, How was that trip for him?
It was really nice because it's something that we had already planned. Like he was to escort me to the base camp, or at least come when I have already submitted, whichever. But when that didn't happen, I still felt like it will be something meaningful for both of us to go there. And I think in a big way, it demystified that journey for him. And what it would have been like to, and I think now more than before, he really understands what it means to go to the big mountains. And
He's a hiker now.
Yes,
like proper.
proper one. But sometimes he also takes quite long breaks, especially after a big mountain. He will tell me, for now it's okay. I want to do. I want to do other things. So like, for example, I think when we did Mount Kenya the first time, he was 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then it took quite a long time to not long really, but like 2 years. It took him 2 years like to feel like he really needs to go. So we started training again, and we did it when he was 9. So we went to Mount Kenya. We have been to Meru. We have been to Kilimanjaro.
Kili.
Yeah. And now to the Everest Base Camp. Yeah. So
wow.
It has been a bit of time to spend time also with him.
That's nice. And now he's 11 years old.
Yeah, he's 11. Yeah, he's 11 now. 11 and a half.
You know, I was asking a lot like about like your recovery process, because you know, in mountaineering, you know, these are the risks that can happen.
Yeah.
So like, and for you, it was like as a first time. Yeah. And had you known of anyone else who had gone through that, let's say frostbite?
Yeah. Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, I think in April, James
Oh,
Moyer.
James Moyer, yeah.
Yeah, but also within the within my circles of friends, like there's this guy, his team. He also suffered like a few months ago. He really suffered a bad frostbite on Annapurna, and we have been in communications like in terms of recovery and all that. But he summited the Annapurna and came down. But he was rescued from, I think, Camp 4. Yeah, yeah. So there's quite a lot you talk to people, and even Moya himself, we really talked a lot during that period. Of course, he has been ahead of me in terms of that process, and but of course the recovery process was totally different, and the journey really are very unique also. Like how you come back. Yeah, I think for him it's more of running, and
So like I have to ask, like, do you think like it's worth it? Like really?
Oh, I would not even try to question why I was there in the first place. I think that's not even the question. I think for me, I feel like that's where I was meant to be at that point, and I have come to make peace with it. I think in every situation you find yourself in, you have you have to make a decision of how you want to take it as a person. And you find these things even anywhere. You can have your accident even in your couch at home. So for me, I have of course it's not something I could say like it's an experience that is present or anything, but I have no regrets of choosing the life in the mountains at all. And I feel like this is the space I'm supposed to be in. Even at that time when I was head injury, I was itching to return outside. And even the magnitude of the injury itself, I think if I didn't have a mountain background and have the same injury, I think it would have been a very big toll on me. Say I lose something, but I don't have the experiences of being in the mountain. I think the mountain itself helped me also heal. Like knowing where I have been and what I have done, there were enough things to tell me you have lived and you have lived well. Yeah.
And it was this year you climbed Batian, right?
Yes. Okay. So and that's the amazing thing, and the bounce back also. And this is also to commit to. Like I have a very good friend called Sam, who is a climber. I was very conscious about coming up back to climbing, especially hiking would have been easy. I would have continued hiking. I don't think it would have prohibited me, other than maybe when it is cold or anything of that. But climbing really requires me to hold rock and climb and do stuff and really hold gear. The hands need to be really on point, otherwise you'll drop gear or you do something. And I think it has really helped me to bring back the hand into full functionality. Climbing itself, in itself, has been amazing. So we met one morning, I think after I had come from the base camp this year. I think it was in May. We met somewhere in Yaya for breakfast, near Yaya there. And he told me, just come. You will never know what your hand can do until you do it. I think that changed everything. Yeah, especially in terms of climbing. I think I appreciate that moment very much.
Interesting. And you still have plans for Everest?
Yes. Or the 8,000.
Or the 8,000. So just an 8,000 peak.
Yeah. I still have interest with the 8,000 and the big mountain specifically. So yeah, and we have plans even for next year. I still be leading an expedition to the base camp and to the 6,000 next year.
Island Peak.
Island Peak and Lobshe.
Lobshe.
Hopefully you have people subscribe for both. So
okay.
so we'll still be playing in the mountains.
Okay. It's amazing how even like after such experiences, you keep going, you know.
I think it's what life gives you back. So, and I think maybe moments like those also come to clear up where you lie in these things. You know, maybe I would have opted to, if it was not my space, then I would have opted to walk away and pursue other things. You know, but I think it reinforced my love for the mountain and what I want to do.
And you also have this project. It's called Gitonga Project.
Yes.
What's that about?
Yeah, so the Gitonga project was tied to the Everest, and it was really to inspire kids and a new generation of adventurers. So what we really wanted to do as part of also the fundraising for the climb was also to fundraise for a few projects. So we were to work with schools, selected schools within the city and also outside there, and especially kids surrounding the mountain areas, to work with them to appreciate that beauty and know that they can do something different with it. And I believe that because I grew up in the Wandai side of the Abadeas, in the Nyeri side of the Abadeas, and it's only recently that I have come to appreciate it as a place where you can go and have an adventure. So for me, it was really to raise that conscience among children. Like there's so wide range of opportunities out there that they can be able to explore, and probably they can make something out of themselves, you know. So it was to be on rock climbing and hiking and camping, and also we are also to work with deaf kids. There's an organization we are to work with called Lugha Ishara, and to see how even kids who are deaf, how they can be able to enjoy the outside spaces. So that's how and I think it will still come to be. And part of that project, I'm still returning to a school that we were already working with in Kikuyu, where I will be planting trees worth the years of my birthday. So each tree for
40 trees.
40 trees. And I had requested people at least if they can chip in, we can double that number. And it's going well. And I think on 23rd, we'll be on that school doing the trees and at least keeping the whole project going. And
nice. And as far as mountaineering, what are your future goals? It's a short term.
Yeah, the short term. So right now we have a very ambitious project that we are working on at Hikemaniak called Batian Ready, and it's two way that we really want people to start appreciating rock climbing also, and which is also something that we did also with hiking. As we entered the market at the time, we really wanted to really like demystify, and we did that with hiking, and it was really making people comfortable with outside spaces. It's always our joy to see somebody stand. We are talking about where do I get this, and you see that person grow to summit Mount Kenya and summit Kilimanjaro, and after that they are still asking what else can I do, and that's the joy for me, seeing that growth in people, and it's one of my most rewarding thing that I do all the time. So now we are in climbing. It's almost where we started with hiking. And we are doing it fortnightly. Every fortnight we are having a climb out there, mostly in Kenya and also at Hell's Gate. The groups are really small, intimate groups, and even our hikes are not like very big groups. So because our values are really like connection, so we always want people to connect when they are doing these things, both with themselves and nature and people. So So right now, that's the project that we are really focused on, and we are trying to prepare people who have the dream to go up to Batian. So we have this 2 months program,
Okay.
both indoor and outdoors combined, to prepare them for them to be able to achieve their dream to stand at the roof.
How
of
many
Kenya.
sessions indoor, outdoor?
Indoor 5, outdoors 5. And one of them is actually a hiking camp where we are doing like a bit of high altitude in Dragon's Teeth. So quite an exciting thing that we are looking forward to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's for January, so you'll go the southeast.
Yeah. So we are doing the southeast in January, and then immediately after we finish the season, the January to March season, then we start again prepping people for the North Face. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and as you said, as we started, they are quite like we also do abseils like on waterfalls, and those are some of also like really unique experiences that we have created at Hikemaniak, where people during a hike they can also enjoy something really totally different and exciting, which also we found like it's really a good introduction to also rock climbing.
I've done the abseils. There was that such thing in Jeru. Over there, just freaking out. It's very. It's nice that you're doing such programs. You're offering people such opportunities, because now we even see more Kenyans climbing Batian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before it was just like tourists.
Yes, exactly. And for me, that was the really key. Like, it's good that people are coming to our country to see, but actually, like one of the things, I worked for an American, and this is maybe off cuff. I worked for an American as an intern for his campus, and she took me to the north, to the north. Actually,
Northern Kenya.
Northern, where we went for some all the way to
Chalbi.
Gurunit and all those areas, and at that time she's the one telling you this part of Kenya, and to some extent you feel really a foreigner should not be telling me how my country looks like. For me, this is really key. Like really people to interact with their own landscapes. Like absolutely very key to me to see more people and not just passing, like really interacting with this landscape, like climbing, hiking.
All the best. There's you, there's Peter Naituli. Promoting climbing in Kenya. Awesome.
And Mwangi, Sam.
And Sam Mwangi, Sam climbs. Yes. He has this hashtag. What is it?
I think it's Sam Climb 254.
No, he has a hashtag. It's
Connect and Climb.
Connect and Climb. Yeah, Sam. Good stuff. Okay. So our next segment is answering your questions segment. Question 1. How did you get into rock climbing?
That's a good question. I think it was 2016. I think it's 2016. I had come from Kili and not Kili. 2015, either 2015 or 2016, and actually it was not Kili. Because I did Kili first before Kenya, and when we did Kenya, we were like a really group of tight friends. We did, when we went there, and people were joking, let's get a photo shoot for get a photo so that then that photo can be, what do you call it? Photoshopped for Batian. And so we joked about it. Wanjikodu, Chalo, another guy called Nesh. I think you have not met Nesh. And they used to run a company at that time called Ecotrek. They were really doing amazing jobs at that time. And so we just joked about it. Like, actually, things that you feel they are out of your reach. Genuinely, and you don't think about, like, we'll be photoshopped and that's it. And, but there was something that was growing even at that time. Like, really, every time you are you are feeling like you really just want to do something more and better, and also like really appreciating that these things are not for a specific type of people. If you put your mind into it, you will be able to achieve it. And that's how I came to do. And we went to Hell's Gate with Charlo at that time, and another friend of ours called Kush. I think you met him at the Engage. And we started training, and we did. But of course, sometimes you start as a group, and then
people drop
so I
out.
ended up going to that first attempt on my own. But I did with the Naituri. He was a teenager at that time. And the attempt was also really risky. There was rock falls. The weather was not conducive, and I had a number of other 4 of them. I had 5 failed attempts for Batian.
Wait, 5 failed attempts before you submitted?
Before I submitted.
What?
Yeah.
So you submitted on the 6th?
On the 6th time.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of the time I was 1 pitch to the peak. And you had to turn around.
1 pitch?
1 pitch.
When the two cornering.
And
it
was a tricky pitch where like, we didn't have like the climbing shoes. And the normal hiking boots could not be able to like grip, and we felt like it was for the lead to be able to do it. It was we didn't want any crazy things, that we just decided to turn.
Took
back.
6 climbs.
6 climbs, but people are lucky.
Wow.
Other people have been lucky, and they have been able to do. But I also appreciate that process because it made me know whether I really wanted to do something or not. And for me, that's really beautiful. It has really made me bond with that mountain in a big way. I almost feel like I know both sides of them, of the south and the north so intimately.
So now to continue, like what kept you going like that, as in like muhimu tuende
summit. I think because I take breaks. Maybe I'll go to another project and sometimes even forget. Like I was really looking to go to Batian, so maybe I have a project in Rwenzori. We go and we do. I'm constantly engaged in something, and when I return to it, it's almost like you're starting the project afresh. Of course, there were some really bad times. Like there was really one. Actually, it's not even the there was another one that I did on the north face that I felt really bad that we were turning, but there was so much snow, and it was really not safe for us to continue. So we had to turn back.
But also with that, you have a lot of experience.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Like it really gives you so much richness of the experience of the mountain.
So for your Batian Ready program, like how much is the cost, and then it's when is it?
So for those who took, we had really advertised for it in end of September, like for people to take it as a package. So for the 6 sessions, 5 sessions outside, and the climb itself. So I think the amount was coming to about 130K, the whole thing.
5 sessions outside, 5 sessions indoor.
No. The indoors
it's minus indoor.
It's minus indoors for the package. Because those ones we pay directly to the gym.
Blue Sky.
To Blue Sky.
Oh, so it's 5 sessions outside.
5 sessions outside
Hell's
with
Gate.
a hike and camp, Hell's Gate and Lukenya, and
Satima.
And then the climb itself, and through the southeast face.
What's
so
the
our base camp is Austrian Hut.
Okay.
Yeah. The
maximum number.
So we have really distributed the attempts. So they will range from early January, end of January, early February, end of February, and one in early March. So we will spread out the team very nicely across.
So how many people? Is it one person? Or?
The guiding is 1-to-1.
Okay.
Yeah. So that we have made, because we need to increase the chances of somebody making it to the top.
Nice. Tips for beginners and hiking with kids.
That's really nice. Yeah. So I think it's to start small. I ride motorbikes. And the first time I met this this guy we hike with, but he's also like big in the riding. He's called Moses Derito. I don't know if you have hiked with him.
Yeah.
And he asked me which is the appropriate bike that you should start with. And of course, this is the guy who rides like the top of the range. Yeah, the top of the. And he said, like, just look for a boda boda. Do the and train with it. Like the lowest CC probably, like just a low CC just to get hand over. And I think for anything that you're starting, aim to start small and gradually keep going. And so don't feel bad to start with Karura if that's what is available for you at this point. And go to Ngong Hills, go to Kereita, go to all this easy Kijabe. And there's variety, Rongonot. Yeah, like just start. And even if sometimes don't even aim to finish, just go and do something. And once you're there and enjoy that experience, I always try and see people enjoy that first experience because it will shape the way you move forward.
Moving forward, if it's for you.
Move forward from that. Yeah, but I think starting small is really okay. And
for kids.
Hiking with kids. And for kids also. Sometimes parents we fear so much, especially being with kids outside. It's already fearful to be with a kid in the mall sometimes. It's even harder to be the kid on the outside spaces. Maybe you are fearing they will get injured or they will get. Yeah, but I find, like, with my experience with my children, it's I think I have the easiest time with my children when I'm outside because you don't even struggle with how to entertain them. There's so much to discover. There are butterflies, there are insects, there's water. Just chatting. And then for kids, then also you should not have like really big goals, achieving big goals. You just have, wherever they get, if there's kids that can walk really quite distances, then you just let them from wherever they get. You can try and encourage it, but when it's done also, because you have to measure the energy of returning, the return journey. So
I'm out of Beba.
So and but they're enough quite easy trails for kids, especially kids between 5 and 10 years. They're enough kids. I would recommend Karura, I would recommend Ororua, I would recommend Ngong Hills because you can go even to first hill or second hill and you say you're done. You can go to Gatamayo, Kereita, Kimakia. There's it's quite a lot of trails that you can actually and actually in a trail you can experience your child as long as you're not aiming to like get to the summit or anything. And that's how I do it. Especially for the big mountains, I cannot put so much pressure on the boy like Wandai. Like, you have to do this. Because otherwise, at the end of that experience, is either you have them or you don't.
Yeah.
Forever. So you have to, and sometimes they are big investments. Like for me to be with him in Kilimanjaro, it's quite something. But it's the experience more than any cost that you can put on such experiences. Yeah.
I imagine his classmates is like the only one who's done that. And I also have an 8-year-old nephew now. It's actually seeing you, like with your son, and also seeing Job hiking with his kids. I'm like, actually,
true. I think it's, and kids also will surprise you. That's also what I have realized. We tend to think, and especially when they have like company, you'll have an easy time. Especially if you are a parent with siblings and their age is pretty much utakuwa sawa. You will not have any like really big, or even coming with a friend who also have kids of the same age. You will not have big struggle outside there. And but of course there are the things that you really need to like kids are eating all the time. It's not like an adult will say,
they have to be well fed every time.
Yeah. So when they feel like they want to eat, so you have to maybe carry some snacks, some energy, not energy drink, some drinks, maybe. And, for them to have along the way. And most importantly, as a parent is to take a dose of patience in the morning to just have a chill day. Like kill any expectation of where you think your child should have reached on this trail, or just kill it.
It's about
and especially before they understand how hiking is going. You know, you already know maybe there are summits, there are what. Maybe as you're starting, the child doesn't know those things. So allow them maybe now to start appreciating the sport itself and what it means. Like people have goals to reach summits and all these things. And once now they're there, like now, and I will say, hey, the next time I really want to get to this peak. Already now he's appreciating the the reward of getting to a summit. But when he was younger, if you just push and push, then you are pushing him outside of the sport.
What snacks do you carry normally for a hike?
I love the carrot strips. They are really nice for me. I really find them. Hoping that you get the really sugary ones, like
sweet carrots.
The sweet carrots. I love that. Also oranges. I love apple. I also do sandwiches. Sometimes I do, especially when I was in the vegan world. I was also doing like mushrooms. I still do
cooked mushrooms.
Cooked mushrooms, and then I do like a sandwich for that. It's really nice. I love it. And so I think those are some of the energy bars. There are like really quality energy bars out there nowadays that people can do. But I think maybe what you can insist on is on that energy bar, what does it have? The granola is really good with dashes of raisins, dates, also good. I don't take a lot of them, but one of it and just put in the mouth. It's just
these are healthy snacks.
I don't do. For me, I don't do any processed like really instant like glucose or even sodas. But I'm not saying for people who want to enjoy their soda, it's okay.
No, but these are your snacks.
But for me, and they stay a lot. Like they release the energy slowly, and that's the beauty of them. Especially a banana.
For sure. Now this one is. Did you ever feel like giving up? I guess. Now after your incident.
Well, you feel the punch. Definitely, you feel the punch. But after you internalize everything, you rise up again. I think that's the beauty of everything. Is appreciating that you can go down, but don't stay there. Always come up back again and go. And for me, like really pushing for something that you strongly feel in your heart. You should never get a reason or excuse for it. Always keep going. Keep going, because that gives you the reason why you're here, like the existence of it. And when that is removed, then you are just living very mediocre life, I think.
For sure. Would you ever do the 14 peaks?
I think it's something that could be done. It's not something I could rule out, but as you have seen, especially in the experience, because I know most of Kenyans have really watched the 14 peaks. It's really capital intensive, these things. And like, for example, even for me, by the time I was going to Himlung, I didn't have budget for Everest. And I was really hoping that the summit of Himlung will really raise the interest and the attention of people to see that this is actually coming. And it should and it would have, I think. And I think we would have been set to go to the Everest in April this year. But it's what it is. It is what it is.
I believe it can still happen.
And it can still happen. No, I have not ruled out the possibility of... actually, if you look at all the peaks, the 8,000 peaks, I still feel the Everest is the most accessible and very doable peak.
Support and everything.
Of the 14 of them.
So this is a producer's question. How long would it have taken for the condition, like when you got snow blindness, would it be irreversible? At what point?
Oh, well,
After
I
how
cannot
long?
really like, give specific, but like even how the other conditions like frostbite happen.
Yeah.
They say maybe like within, if you have not seeked attention between 48 and 72 hours, there's a very good chance that you are losing something. Yeah, and I believe even the eyesight, if you have like the cornea is frozen and it's frozen for that period, probably also it could probably be not reversible. And if maybe it gets back, maybe it's impaired. Yeah.
So once it happens, you have maximum 3 days to get help and to leave.
To get help. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So any like words for the Hikemaniacs out there and for your people?
Yeah, big shout out to anyone who have ever hiked with us, climbed with us. Amazing. You are the reason why we keep moving and keep exploring new dimensions of how we enjoy the outside space. And from us, from Hikemaniak team, we'll keep bringing to you these beautiful experiences and exploring more. We have not, and there's still so much to come. Like the world out there, like maybe in the Western world, they have national trails. So this is something that is really key to us at Hikemaniak, that one day Kenya will have a national trail that maybe starts from the coast and cuts across the country all the way to the north.
Nice.
And maybe people can do it either as sections or as one thing, like the way we have the Appalachian trails in the US and the Pacific Crest trails.
It's a nice project.
So I believe maybe one day that will come true. And as we keep pushing boundaries and pushing limits in the outside spaces.
Nice. Cheers, Gitonga.
Asante sana.
Cheers for coming.
Cheers, man, for having me. Appreciate it.
And that's our episode. See you on the next one.